can't afford to miss the opportunities of saving from property tax exemptions. Hello, I'm Gabby Wittes, and I'm your Chicagoland property manager. Today, I'll discuss Cook County property tax exemptions. Residential properties are taxed at 10% of their equalized assessed value, which is the EAV, and commercial properties at 25%. The EAV is based on fair market value and the state's equalization factor, from which you can deduct applicable tax exemptions. So what are the property tax exemptions available in Cook County? You could strategically lessen your tax bill by applying relevant exemptions and deductions. With these exemptions, you can get more savings and optimized profitability for your property. The Cook County Assessor's Office automatically renews homeowner exemptions for properties that were not sold to new owners in the last year. Number 1, homeowner exemption. It applies to the primary resident properties that are single-family home, townhomes, condominiums, co-ops, or apartment buildings up to 6 units. The amount of exemption is the increase in the current year's equalized assessed value, EAV, above the 1977 EAV, up to a maximum of $10,000. Number 2, Senior Citizen Exemption. For individuals age 65 and older, the Senior Citizen Exemption provides relief by reducing the assessed value of the property. The property could be a single-family home or a condo. The maximum amount of the reduction in equalized assessed value is $8,000 in Cook County. Number 3, the Senior Freeze Exemption. For people age 65 and above with a total household income of $65,000 or less, this exemption freezes the equalized assessed value of your property. The annual benefit calculation considers the property's current EAV minus the frozen base year value, taking into account the applicant's total household income limitation. To qualify for the exemption, each year, applicants must submit Form PTAX 340 to the Chief County Assessment Office. Number 4, the Homestead Improvement Exemption. This temporarily lowers the assessed value of properties after qualifying renovations or additions. This exemption is specifically tied to their fair cash value, with an annual maximum of $75,000 or $25,000 in assessed value added to the homestead property through improvements like remodeling or adding a new room. It applies to at least 4 years from the completion and occupation of the improvement or rebuilding. Aside from submitting the Form PTAX 323, you must also include a valuation complaint with the Cook County Assessor. Number 5, longtime occupant exemption. To qualify, the residential property must be your primary resident and you have a total household income of $100,000. You must occupy it for 10 continuous years or 5 continuous years if you received assistance in acquiring the property through a government or nonprofit housing program. The exemption sets limits on EAV increases with an annual percentage increase based on the total household income. If the income is $75,000 or less, the limit is 7%, while incomes between $75,000 and $100,000 face a 10% annual increase. But property owners cannot benefit from both the long-term occupancy homestead exemption and either the general homestead exemption or the low-income senior citizen assessment freeze homestead exemption. Number 6, disabled person exemption. To qualify for this exemption, the homeowner must be a person with a disability, unable to engage in subsequent gainful activities due to a medically determinable physical or mental impairment. You must own the home and be responsible to pay property taxes. Submit a proof of disability such as a Class 2 Illinois Disabled Person Identification Card and other supporting documents. This exemption reduces the equalized assessed value by $2,000, influencing the overall property tax calculation. But you cannot simultaneously avail this exemption and either the Veterans with Disabilities exemptions for specially adapted housing or the exemptions for veterans with disabilities in the same year. You can only contribute the Persons with Disabilities exemption with other property tax exemptions available for homeowners and senior citizens. Number 7, 7, returning veterans homestead exemption. The returning veterans homestead exemption is in recognition of the service of qualifying veterans, offering a reduction in the assessed value upon their return from active duty, acknowledging their contributions to society. This exemption provides a $5,000 reduction in the EAV of a veteran's principal residence for 2 consecutive tax years. The eligible periods include the tax year in which the veteran returns from active duty in an armed conflict involving the U.S. Armed Forces and the following year. Veterans can receive the exemption for additional tax years in which they return from active duty by filing Form PTAX 341, the application for returning veterans homestead exemption, with the Chief County Assessor's Office. Number 9, the disabled veterans standard homestead exemption. This is an annual reduction in the equalized assessed value, specifically for the primary residence of a qualified veteran with a disability. To be eligible, the veteran must own a single-family residence and be responsible for property tax payments. The property's total EAV after deducting any portion used for commercial purposes must be below $250,000. For qualified veterans with a service-connected disability ranging from at least 30% but not less than 50%, the annual reduction in EAV is $2,500. If the veteran's disability is between 50% and less than 70%, the exemption increases to $5,000 annually. And if the veteran has a service-connected disability of 70% or more, the residential property is entirely exempt from taxes. Number 9, the Veterans with Disabilities Exemption for Specially Adapted Housing. This offers a reduction of up to $100,000 on the assessed value for specific housing exclusively owned and used by a veteran with disability. The exemption remains valid as long as the veteran, spouse, or unmarried surviving spouse, partner resides on the property. It also covers mobile homes exclusively owned and used by a veteran with a disability or their spouse. But you cannot use both this exemption and either the homestead exemption or persons with disabilities or the standard homestead exemption for veterans with disabilities. All these exemptions can translate to massive savings. Availing tax exemptions will help you reduce the taxable value of your properties, leading to lower property tax liabilities. So if you're smart in using your property, you can enhance your cash flow and optimize your return on investments. Cook County, although one of the highest tax systems in the country, offers a lot of relief for property owners. As always, you can find a link below to schedule a free consultation with me. So what's your experience with Cook County property taxes and their exemptions? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and as always, where's your future?